Hello, Wasteland! Yes, and welcome to Gaslands UK Car of the Month competition for July 2020! That's right, this month the challenge was to build a super slick, super luxury sports car, suitable for the brand new corporate team figures released by North Star Military Figures. That's right, this month's sponsor, North Star, put up prize for first place of one new set of their corporate team figures, as well as the gold standard, the Implements of Carnage sprue. Very nice, thank you, North Star. Now, this month was only open to UK contestants, but that did not put you off from entering, and that did not put off some of our international American friends either. So, from the top, let's look at everyone who entered and everyone who finished. So, we have Andy Horton, Braden Wachtel, Bruce Skakel, Chris Hutchings, Chris John, Colin Harvard, Daniel White, Gabriel Frost, Ian Barham, Ian Calver, James Moseley, Jay Bacon, Jay Conklin, Massiedge Matrak, Matt George, and his daughter, Hannah George, Matt Reeve, Matt Weingast, Neil Williams, Paul Chapman Moss, Ramon San Yuan, Richard Bennett, Richard Side. How do I pronounce this? Google, help me out.
GKCH 10th of Shitsams.
Google, that doesn't help.
GKKCH 10th of Shtams.
Ricky Williams, Sam Graven.
How can no one pronounce it? Debase.
Sebastian Debase, Tony Peacock, and Zippy Z Zoom. And let's look at everyone who finished. We have Andy Horton, Chris John, Colin Harvard, Gabriel Frost, Ian Barham, James Moseley, Jay Bacon, Matt George, Hannah George, Matt Reeve, Matt Weingast, Paul Chapman Moss, Ramon San Yuan, Richard Bennett, Richard Side, Ricky Williams.
Full name is Jean-Sebastian Debase.
And Tony Peacock. But can we just get some honourable mentions for our American friends that sadly can't win, but put out some damn good cars regardless. We have Braden Wachtel, Jay Conklin, and Massiedge Matrak. Those are some fantastic entries for this month's competition. You guys did not disappoint. I was so worried we'd just be seeing, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, and it would be the same cars over again. Oh my goodness, it would have been terrible. But no, you guys put out some brilliant cars. So thank you everyone who entered and everyone who finished. So let's have a look at the cars now, starting with Andy Horton and his fantastic Spy vs. Spy inspired E-Type Jag builds. Inspired by the comic strip from Mad Magazine. I absolutely love these. If anyone's ever played that old Spy v Spy like PS2 game, oh man, there's something about having two of something that are just polar opposites, but so nicely done. And he even painted little drivers in there as well. And I gotta say, those RC bomb cars are just inspired. I don't know why no one saw that before. The wheels going together like that works really well. And having the mesh there to create that scissor lift effect. It's inspired. Really well done, Andy. Then, of course, there's Braden Wachtel with his Corvette Grand Sport, the Kickback. Man, what a cool-looking Corvette. Now, I've worked on this model before, and there's a lot of fine details in the hood, so it's kind of hard to balance that with any additions you make. But Braden, I think you did a damn good job there. It looks so good. And that rear chainsaw, oh my goodness. No one's going to be going into the back end of that Corvette. It's really nicely done, but gotta get some dusty dusty, mucky, grimy paint on there. It looks so clean. That's a trend we're going to be seeing a lot of today. All these cars look so clean. Next, there's Chris John with his car, the Pharaoh, star driver of Team Purple. Now, this is one heck of a build. This is a Miyazaki-sponsored, grav engine, relentless beast of a machine. And he started with the two cars and figured, I'll do them both up, and whichever one I like, I'll enter that. But I gotta say, you did a great job with both of them. I love how much that blue pops. I think that's great. But then, on the side of that, the flip side, the use of decals and that Anubis head decal, oh my goodness, that suits that car so nicely. Oh, it's really good. It's really nicely done. Checker patterns tend to be really difficult to do by hand, so this is just stunning. And then to top it off, you've done that wonderful little pilot in there. Oh, great work, Chris. Then, of course, there's Colin Harvard with Penelope Pitstop in the compact Pussycat, inspired by the Mark Sexton artwork that we all know and love. Like, whenever you look at the wacky Wasteland art, you know you're in for a good time. And I've seen a few people try to pull this off over the years, and it's not easy because the level of detail in that art is so good. That's why it's so beloved, because it looks like, you know, that perfect fusion of Wacky Racers and Mad Max. And this is close. This is as close as I think I've seen anyone get to recreating it perfectly. Really well done, Colin. Like I've tried myself and failed. Like the Wacky Raceland cars, it's as hard as it gets. You're really getting into the jumping explosion effects, which I really like to see. It's really nicely done, Colin. It's a fantastic build, fantastic paint job, and really true to the artwork. And then there's Gabriel Frost entry. A lot of custom and scratch-built components on this beast. We're seeing a lot of 3D printed these days, so it's always nice to see someone getting the plasticard out, getting the plastic tubing, getting some bits of old pens and boshing them together to make jet engines to go on the back of a sports car. Like, I think that's brilliant. I love all the little deep grooves and scratches in that paint job, as well as the fact that the driver's got so much character to him. Like, what an absolutely rock solid build. Well done, Gabriel. This is my kind of build. That is the kind of thing I was thinking when this challenge came up. Then we've got Ian Barham with the mighty 959. Man, what a crazy build. Like, I love the fact that it's got the front hood of another car boshed on top of it like extra armor. Like, yes, this is a sports car challenge, but my goodness, rally cars would be in this as well. In fact, rally cars would probably stand the best chance of coming out the other end alive. The crew are such a nice touch. And the use of a classic Orc shooter from 40k on the hood, that sings to the Orc in me, my friend. Great work, Ian. Then there's James Moseley with the Hello Kitty. Didn't make it to Mars, but is still well known in the Wasteland. No one wants to get wrecked by a pink car. Well, you're not wrong. But then you look at that, and that is a fearsome Hello Kitty racer right there. Like, the little decals work really nicely on it. And it's got just the right amount of dirt and dust that it's clearly a pink car. You're not going to confuse that with like red that's been dry brushed a bit too much, or like a white car that got stained. No, that is a pink car that has been nice and dirtied up. The LEDs are a fantastic touch, and the darker photos you can take are beautiful, incredibly atmospheric. No, really well done there, James. As always, with the high standards of cars that you put out. I love it. Then we have Jay Bacon with his 3D printed racer here. It's quite an interesting one. Rather than take a car that you might buy or find in your old bits box, to just go, no, I will make one from scratch. From the earth, I will carve a whole new car. So yeah, I think it's a really cool race here, number 87. I think the thing that gets me about 3D printing though is you'll get some areas that are just like perfectly smooth, no issue at all, and then you'll get some areas like the roof on this car, and you got all those circles, all those stepped areas where the actual printing process has happened, and I just look at it and I go, whoa, is it possible to sand that down or turn that into something? Like maybe turn it into a pattern or a spiral, or I don't know, it's something to work on. I mean, people often look at this competition and go, here's my finished entry, I'll never touch it again. I'd like to see you go back at this one and try some more things out, because that's a real clean, almost cel-shaded paint job, which is really cool. But I just want to see something going on with that roof. It's really asking for it. Speaking of J's, here is Jay Conklin. Now, Jay's been going through all manner of problems at home. So, the fact that he was able to finish the Slime Snot Rocket based on the Hot Wheels Technetium with random bits from various toys and all sorts of scavenged trash bash goodness. Man, what a monster of a racer. Like, absolutely. If a sports car got dipped in a vat of steroids, I think it would come out looking like this. Like the sheer amount of exhaust and engines and jets. Oh, it's brilliant. That is the kind of extreme end of the spectrum I like to see, where it's not just about the body, it's about all the stuff that gives it the power to just blitz it across the racetrack. No, I really like that, Jay. I think you've done a really good car, and I hope, you can get things sorted out at your end. We're all thinking about you, buddy. Then, of course, there's Maciej Matrak with his entry Equilibrium, or Kinko, the very first car in the Neon Oni Miyazaki gang. So, he completely fell in love with the cyberpunk oriental theme, and we'll see this a couple of times coming up. But I gotta say, you've done a brilliant job here. Like, there's something about wonderfully clean white bodies on these Japanese styled, really futuristic cars that make you just go, yes, that works so well. And it's not the kind of look where you go, oh, but you should dirty it up. It's like, no, this is an inner city racer. This does not need to be dirtied up at all. Absolutely brilliant work. The windscreen, oh my goodness, the highlighting and the gradients on the windscreen is just beyond belief. And all of the little hand touches, like painting on those Japanese characters by hand. Man after my own heart. Really well done. Perfectly at home with a cyberpunk theme. I'm sure at some point we'll have a cyberpunk contest, and you are just made for that. And then here we have Matt George's entry, codename Veronica. I don't think this needs any explanation. I think anyone that's ever heard of Resident Evil can get the idea behind this. But I gotta say, that's a fantastic paint job. The level of detail is just spot on. The freehanding, I think, is a great attempt. I would tidy up some of the lines, see if you can't make them a bit sharper. But no, that is a brilliant racer there, Matt George. Codename Veronica. It's fantastic. I would have loved a Resident Evil 3 reference somewhere though, like stars or something written on the side. Or Nemesis. Yes. If we're talking about the Georges, how can we not talk about his daughter's very first entry, Hannah George? That's right, she's never done anything remotely like this before, but was keen to give this a go. So, with a little help from Matt, but no actual physical, paintbrush on model work from him. This was all her own work. Here is her very minimalist, but very nice, futuristic Formula One style race car. And man, you consider that this is all painted by her. He's not touched a thing. Like, the fact it's so clean and smooth, and the paint's not overlapping any of the areas. I'm going to guess this was maybe painted in sub-assemblies, which for a 15-year-old kid is brilliant. Like, I wish I knew about sub-assemblies when I was that young. Like, I think she's done an incredible job. I really like that. Well done, Hannah. That is a really good car. That is a really good, like for the first ever attempt. Come on. Spot on. Then we have everyone's favourite, Matt Reeve. Now, I don't think there was much doubt he was going to go with the Dark Future car to build up from, that classic Interceptor design. Now, it's plastic, it's all plastic, so it doesn't have the rigidity that, a typical metal Hot Wheels car will have. But because of that, there's a lot of freedom to move and change the look and shape of it. But he kept it that classic Dark Future look. This is all about what can I paint, what can I bring out in the design. I think it's a fantastic reimagining of that OG look. Like, I love all the little references all the way around it, from OCP to Vault-Tec. But very nice. And OSL lighting around the driver. Oh my goodness, that is difficult to do and make it look good. So really well done there. Then we have Matt Weingast, who reluctantly submitted his entry quite early, but kind of hit that wall with it where he didn't really know what else to do. But he certainly had fun playing around with the design and the paint job, because man, this racer is just fierce. This GT40 has no brakes. I mean, the use of 40k parts, I think, is pretty rock solid. The two heavy machine guns mounted in the front hood, absolutely fantastic. The paint job is just out there. Like, I can't decide if this is rusty and weathered or if this is weathered and rusty. Like, that is something else. There's some like acrylics going into this. There's some oil paints and all sorts of experimentation, and that's what this is all about. So next we have Paul Chapman Moss with his entry, a golden Enzo Ferrari with a fantastic conversion and paint job. I love how most of those smooth lines of the body have been kept, except for the ones that were damaged in previous races. And in order to maintain that, in order to keep the look the same, the only place where they put a minigun was up front, which normally isn't done. And it's nice to see something different. It's nice to see a minigun in a place that you don't expect it. But he did a lot of customizing and converting here. He opened up the rear so you'd be able to see the engine. Really well done, Paul. Then we have Ramon San Juan with the Serenian Hind, built with the firepower to get in front and the speed to stay in front. So yeah, man, what a build this is. I mean, it's covered in guns and dropper weapons, which I'm always in favour of. But most importantly, the driver has been changed to the correct side of the car. I think it's great. I mean, the incorporation of that minigun is just spot on. Like, that is what you want in your passenger seat. And cutting around the engine compartment at the back to fit that enormous engine. Brilliant work there. Then we have Richard Bennett with this absolutely startling, beautiful build. Like, I don't know what it is about that pearlescent paint job, but man, that really pops. And it's such a simple and clean build. Like this, the focus is all on the curves and the shape of the body, which when you look at supercars, that's what it's all about, isn't it? But the machine gun headlights, absolutely fantastic. The hood opens and closes, which I am always a sucker for. And to top it off, you've got some great decals on there as well. Really well done, Richard. Then we have Richard's side with his tractor. Yep, it's a slick tractor. There are tractor races, don't get me wrong, there are tractor races, so arguably it is a race car. Here in the Wasteland, anything goes, so don't you worry about it. But hey, that's a really nicely painted red tractor. I do love all the little additions you've made to it around the engine, that captive tied up front, and then the spikes on the wheel at the back. It's really good. Well done, Richard. Then, of course, there's my good friend Sebastian Debase. Yes, look at this absolute beast of a race car. There's a lot going on in this package. There's a lot of custom work. There's a lot of paint. Like, there's a lot of tricks in the paint job that just, oh, beautiful. And I wanted to show you the before and after shots of the paint job as well, so you can see there was a point where this was going to be a pretty clean, open shut kind of case with the race car. But no, he went that little bit further. A race car from a forgotten time with reverse engineered Area 51 technology. I love it. I love it. And it's always pretty cool to see all the little customizations that people can do with bits that we've all seen before. We've all seen like 40k bits before and Tau gun bits and shield drones. But to see what modifications people can come up with, like, I think this is really inventive. I like it. I like it. Well done, Seb. And then, continuing the trend of hyper-futuristic and cyberpunk cars, we have Tony Peacock with this absolutely beautiful purple car, the Lamborghini Diablo, which, as he says, he had no intention of painting it purple. And yet here we are, Tony. Here we are. As Matt Reeves pointed out, Colin does dust and smoke, Ben does blood, Tony does purple. What can I say? It's your niche, man. And you always come up with such a nice variety of purple. I mean, this is a case where you see what it was before, the absolute nothing that you had to work with, and then what you've managed to come up with. And as I have said, I am a sucker for exposed wiring, and all those modifications at the engine at the rear, very nicely done. And I really like how you're able to make the twin heavy machine guns on the roof look like energy-based weapons. Just a simple glowing orange effect. Sometimes that's all you need. And look at that orange windscreen. Oh my goodness, it's to die for. Fantastic, fantastic, Tony. And last but not least, how can we not talk about Ricky Williams' entry? I don't think I've seen anyone actually try to make their own body for a car at this scale before. I think that's absolutely fantastic. It's certainly a first for this competition. So, if nothing else, Ricky, that is solid gold. Fantastic job in making that. Because, let me tell you, it is not easy to fabricate. Like machine guns and rocket launchers and all that stuff, yeah, you know, we can all do that. We've seen that. But to just make the entire thing, man, well done. That is absolutely rock solid. And the paint job is spot on. Like the flame pattern at the front, beautiful. And that is it. That is all of the entrants for Gaslands UK Car of the Month for July 2020, which means it is time for us to announce who the winner is for this month. So, as always, a massive congratulations to everyone who was able to finish this month. As always, there sadly can be only one winner, only one first place. But I want you all to know I think you've made some absolutely stunning sports cars this month. They would be perfectly suitable for a Wasteland Top Gear episode. The temptation to do an intro based off of Top Gear was so strong, but I can't do a silly intro every month. Sometimes we have to do this straight-laced. But again, fantastic builds, beautifully executed across the board. I do not envy North Star military figures for having to pick a winner this time round. So, without further ado, the winner, start the drum rolls please. The winner for Gaslands UK Car of the Month competition for July 2020 is Tony Peacock. That's right, Tony, come on down. Yes, viewers at home, that's right. For the second time this year, Tony has managed to take first place. So, what was it? What tipped the judges over the scale? I mean, we've seen some brilliant entries here today. And I think this is one of the first times where we've seen someone have a car that's had almost nothing except a shell and then come out the other end with not just a finished piece, but something that really speaks to the heart of a design. Like, this is a cyberpunk car. This is futuristic. This is cool. This is energy. And it carries on that fine tradition of purple, beautifully painted purple cars by Tony Peacock. There are lots of details on this thing that I adore, and at the same time there are additions here that don't take away from how the Lamborghini looks. It is a wonderful, wonderful piece. And I gotta say, Tony, second time's the charm. So the question is, can you make it a third for this year? Are we going to see a third purple car at some point in 2020 take first place? But North Star Military Figures also had a second prize, a second winner. So this was not official. This was not declared before the competition began. This has come from the amazing work put in by one particular entrant for her first ever entry in the Car of the Month competition. That's right, Hannah George, you have won yourself an implement of Carnage Sprue by North Star Figures. Congratulations. It is a brilliant entry, and for a first time, I think it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning, and they agree. So congratulations, Hannah. Look forward to that prize. Congratulations, Tony. I hope to see you in August. And to everyone who took part this month, can I say, some brilliant work. But do not despair, because now that July is over, August is here. And this month is going to be a little different. Now, I don't know what the theme of the competition for August will be, but I can tell you one thing. Regardless of the sponsor, regardless of what the prizes are, I am entering this month. That's right, James of JH Miniatures is throwing his hat into the ring. It's my birthday month, boys and girls, and I want to take you all on. So, here is my challenge to you all. I want you all to push yourselves in August. I want to see the very best cars you've ever made in your life. I want to see groundbreaking techniques the likes of which this game has never seen before. And if someone manages to cross the finish line with a build that is truly revolutionary, I'll send you my entry. That's right, I will send you my car. Doesn't matter where in the world. I'm opening this up to planet Earth. If you think you got the stones for it, bring it on! Thank you for watching Wasteland, and I will see you in August Gaslands UK Car of the Month competition video. Thank you, and bring it on!